I get a lot of Indian patients in California because of my social media reach. And I have had a small Excel sheet in terms of, okay, what is their protein intake? My dietitian and me will work together, and we have done a small study on that. The average protein intake in a vegetarian patient, the sample size is around 1,000. Okay, in 1,000, average protein intake is only 40 grams per day.
You have topped my sample size of almost 600 vegetarians. I had once done a free calling. My sample size showed 30 grams, so yours is slightly better.
30 grams.
Yeah, it's abysmal. But you are there. You're
I mean, 30
probably
to,
right.
yes, yeah,
30,
30 to
40.
40
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, you're right.
But all of these people, the body mass index, the measurement, body weight is around 70. Correct?
So BMI is okay, you're
BMI
saying.
is normal. That's the thing.
That's a trick with Indians.
Exactly. BMI is normal. Again, as you know, BMI is also tricky with Indian
Very
community. Usually should be lower. BMI of 23
The lower end of the spectrum, Indians should be.
should be. And the 24.9 is for the Western people, not for us. So if you look at the research paper, BMI is 23, around that for Indian community. So these people are around 23.5 and they don't look obese. They look normal. So protein is 70 grams is needed, but they only reach 40. Okay. The first problem that I am facing is the weekly follow-up that they come to see me. I say, what is happening to your protein intake? They said, I don't know what is protein, which amount is there. How do you start with them? How do you teach them?
So, doctor, my consultation calls last anywhere from 30 minutes if it's a slightly evolved patient to almost an hour if it's vegetarian, not a patient, I should say, clients. So, the first education exercise that I do after basically a KYC on the client, knowing their history, family history, health condition, evaluating their blood markers. I am equipped to read some basic blood markers. And then when I take a dietary call, what's your average day of eating? So the first thing that I do, I don't even, like I said, for me, carbohydrate reduction comes later because that's an easy thing to do. The biggest education exercise that happens on every consultation call is to explain to vegetarians what a class 1 protein is and what a class 2 protein is. So what are your primary protein sources and what are your secondary protein sources? And there is a lot of myth busting there. Okay, now I am born in a South Indian family. I was a vegetarian for the first 30 years. My mum raised me, giving me 1 cup of sambar rice every day, thinking I'm getting protein. No fault of hers, but
You asked for
right,
tamarind rice as well.
yeah. But right up there is this misconception that that dal is protein. Don't get me wrong. Or similarly, chole is protein, chana is protein, or rajma is protein. The right definition of these foods is complex carbohydrates with protein. Okay. And there is a primary difference between class 1 protein, which tend to be animal based protein, which are meat, all red meat, poultry, eggs and chicken, seafood, fish, prawns, etc., dairy. Okay. So these are your anything that comes out of an animal is actually what we call class 1 protein. There are 2 reasons for it. The amino acid profile is complete without getting very technical. They are not only complete, but they are there in the right balance that is needed for the human body, which people miss out. In plant protein, one, the amino acid profile is incomplete. And second, yes, on paper, you can combine dal rice, you can combine rajma rice and complete the amino acid profile. So if one amino acid is missing in rajma, for example, that amino acid is present in rice, yes, your 9 is complete. But you do not get it in the right amount that is needed per meal for your body to absorb. That's number one. And carbs to protein ratio in plant protein is 3:1 or 4:1. Okay.
So I'll explain the carbs to protein ratio a little bit.
You sure?
So just for you know it, but I'm just for the audience.
Yeah, sure.
As carbs to protein ratio is, for example, 1 gram of protein, you don't want too many carbs.
Yes.
So for 1 gram of protein, let's say you have only like 2 or 3 grams of carbs, it's good.
Yeah. No, actually, you were actually explaining 1:3.
1
So
to 3.
for one, usually if you want a protein source, you don't want carbs in
Carbs at
it.
all, correct.
You ideally want fat in it because that is how protein and fat are designed in nature. An egg has no carbs. Chicken has no carbs. Fish has no carbs. Paneer has no carbs. Okay. The only exception being curd and milk. They have certain carbs in it because milk is for children. So you have all three macronutrients. So ideally, you want a protein where if the protein is 1, you want the carb to be at least 0.5 or equal at worst case scenario. Okay. So let's say 100 grams of let's say cooked moong dal, or we can take raw. People go and search raw. If you have 100 grams of raw moong, on an average 22 to 24 grams of protein depending upon the moong, that same 100 grams will have about 70 plus grams of carbs. And then when you add rice to complete the protein, 100 grams of rice will give you probably 2 3 grams of protein, but you are taking 35 grams of carbs. So basically, for a very small amount of protein, you've taken excessive amount of carbs, which calorically is not value for money for you, because to just complete that protein requirement, you're taking too many calories. And if you don't use those carb calories, you're going to store it.